Welcome back to the College Loop Podcast, episode 49 of the College Loop Podcast, and welcome to the College Loop, not after dark, but before sunrise, really. So we are recording this at 7:30 in the morning. Oh boy, did it hurt to get up this early on a Sunday.
Yeah, not my favorite thing to do, Dylan, but also at the same time, I'm proud of you. You're a trooper. You're certainly not a morning person, and I think you're doing quite well. And you're in a good headspace today. I think I'm totally lying. You were very angry when we decided to record this morning, but you got through it, and we're going to get through this together. So let's get on the grind and get going.
Yeah, let's get going. We're starting off hot and heavy. The transfer portal started up yesterday as it's coming out. So I guess an hour when this comes out. Transfer portal started yesterday, and it was actually slower than we thought it was going to be.
A lot slower.
And I believe that has something to do with the fact that a lot of teams had their spring games. Like, we were expecting some Ole Miss guys into the portal, and they didn't. And that's just because their spring game was going on. So maybe today, tomorrow, throughout they have 15 days into the portal and find a school. So it might pick up, it might not. But Auburn only lost, I believe, one player, Tavares Dawson, the wide receiver, who had the best catch of the spring game. So, give a little, take a little. But he would be the fourth Tiger this offseason thus far to enter the portal, joining the likes of Jeffrey Emba, Desmond Tisdale, and of course Cameron Brown, who is now committed to the University of Tennessee in Chattanooga. So I don't think we lost anybody that huge outside of Emba.
Auburn's actually done a pretty good job of keeping their roster intact to this point. I don't think they're done. I don't know that this is the end of the line for folks entering the transfer portal. I think there's a lot of feeling it out and seeing where there's going to be spaces elsewhere and things of that nature. But to your point, Dylan, a lot of teams playing their spring games this week, so that's part of it that's keeping everything so delayed, rather. Which also, like, counterpoint, is that like kind of a smart idea to schedule your spring game for the opening of the portal period so you guys don't have as much time to think about it? I don't know. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But I think that Jeffrey Emba is still far and away the most important loss to this roster. Don't get me wrong, I was pretty high on Tavares Dawson in terms of a consistent receiver that Auburn needed, a guy that could go be possession first, not necessarily turn over on anybody, and wasn't particularly like an elite route runner, but also like one of the most consistent guys that we heard about and that we saw all spring. And I'm curious to see if he's the last receiver to leave. I don't think he is, because I think that that'll be one of those positions in which Auburn's going to try to make an overhaul. Linebacker obviously going to be a place where you would try to make an overhaul, and now you have to go to that defensive line with the loss of Jeffrey Emba. And you and I discussed it, or excuse me, you Daniel and I discussed it on the Thursday show. We spoke about it with I spoke about Lindsey Crosby on the Auburn Daily Show on Friday. The Emba decision to go to the portal really solidifies this defensive line is probably, I think, my third or fourth biggest area of concern on this team now. But just because you're losing some serious depth that you actually really needed. And beyond that, I don't know, man. Desmond Tisdale's he was cool, but Tavares Dawson, whatever, Cameron Brown, sure. I don't even think that Auburn's done pushing guys out yet. I think there are some guys to get processed still.
I mean, we talk about how important the linebacker core is. I mean, Auburn kind of pushed out, I guess. I don't think Cameron Brown was a push out. But, I mean, they would have been depth pieces on a linebacker core that, call a spade,
no, he totally
wasn't good. They were not good in the spring game. And I know it was a spring game, but looking bad in the spring game is pretty bad.
Sure.
You can't look at all the positives of that game, but they were a huge negative.
You also just need scholarships right now. You need to acquire scholarship spots and make sure that you're not over that limit and that you're not preventing yourself from being able to go out and do some damage in the transfer portal. And I think Auburn's done a decent job of keeping themselves set up in good shape there. So the sky's kind of the limit, but the transfer portal in general has been a lot slower than we anticipated, not just at Auburn, but beyond. So maybe it's just a delayed reaction. Maybe as the show comes out today, and maybe as we roll into the beginning of this week, that frenzy will pick up, and I think it will. And I think you would probably agree. Yeah. But we'll just have to see what the priorities for Freeze and company are. I think that we know them, but nothing would surprise me less than for them to go get like, I don't know, some random, I don't know, like another kick returner just because they want to come to Auburn or something. Like I'm not saying that freezing them don't know what they're doing. It just feels like that would be one of those random pickups. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Where's the linebackers? Like, where's the
Yeah,
quarterback?
picking up a 6'1" or sorry, a 5'10", 180-pound kick returner who can, I guess, can play linebacker too, maybe.
Yeah. We're
But
actually we're gonna go get a guy that can play both sides of the ball.
NCAA 14 create a player out here.
That's right.
But yeah, talk about players Auburn's lost. Let's talk about some players Auburn gained this week. This week, the past end of the week at least. Martavious Collins, a former Alabama commit, has officially flipped his commitment to, I want to say the University of Auburn so bad, but I didn't. Auburn
I think you
University.
should.
The
I think you
University of
should.
Auburn War Eagles has
Yes.
got another.
Yes. The University of Auburn War Eagles, they are good, dude. They've got some dogs. They've never had a bad recruit. That means, yeah, you're so right, Dylan. Martavious Collins flipping from Bama, so big. I mean, huge. I can't begin to explain how important that is for this coaching administration and their tenure. You got your first one. You're in good shape there. You got your first big, I guess not big. You've had big flips like Keldrick Falk, and guys like that, Connor Lew. But this is your first flip over the University of Alabama, and that's big time because that's really establishing what you want to the message that you want to send to other schools that you're really not messing around. And quite frankly, I think Martavious Collins wanted to come to Auburn the whole time. I think that it was a lack of recruiting by the administration before Freeze. I like him a lot. Raw talent, 3-star, listed as an athlete, actually. 6'3", 241 out of Rome, like you mentioned. And really kind of was hinting at that he was going to flip to Auburn for a couple of weeks now, and kind of finally pulled the trigger and built onto this class of 2024. The Dylan, this class is really, really in position to wind up being a top 10, if not top 5 class of that year.
Yeah, and he joins. It'll be the 5th commit of the 2024 class, joining the likes of 4-star Walker White, 4-star Jameron Burnett, 4-star Amon Lane, and 4-star Jaden Lewis. And that was all from the brain. So big claps for me for remembering stuff at 7 in the
I'm
morning.
impressed. And
Yeah.
so now you've got a 3-star thrown in here. So you're gonna have to try to make sure you have them in an organized list that you can keep up with, because now you can't just say 4-star, 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 4-star.
He's going to get his 4-star. He had it for the longest time, and then they took it away for some reason.
He's got it on 3. He doesn't have it on 247. Which, you know what? Actually, we've always said that On3 was the best website for rating Martavious Collins as
we
a
have
recruit.
said that.
We've
That
always
is something
said
we've
that.
always said.
So correction, yeah, all 4-stars.
But from what I've been hearing, this is not going to be the first time. This is not going to be the last tight end Auburn tries to pick up in this recruiting class. Martavious Collins, 6'3", 241. He's going to be seen more as a blocking tight end, more of the H-back type beat, who can catch the ball if need be. But I've heard that I don't want to butcher his name. The tight ends coach, Ben Igamawa. I want to say that's right.
Beautiful.
That's that right?
Beautiful.
Let's go me at 7 in the morning. I've heard that he's looking for a true pass catching tight end to go alongside Martavious Collins. So Auburn could have their future quarterback, their future running back, the future DBs, and the future tight ends coming up next. And I mean,
And how big is that? Like, how important is that? You've got your DBs in the class of 2023, and then you go pick up your hopefully get help on that front 7, in the class of 2024, and you go grab tight ends. I don't think we're talking enough right now either, Dylan. Speaking of the transfer portal, going backtracking for a second here, there's going to be at least one transfer out from that tight end room this year. And I don't know how that slipped into the cracks, but that's another piece to look for, whether that be Luke Deal, Tyler Fromm. I'm not sure who that is yet.
I mean,
but
I will say that tight end room is secretly deep.
Oh yeah, no, but it's too crowded.
Yeah,
and with a guy like Martavious Collins coming in next year, and almost all of these guys having additional eligibility in this active tight end room, I mean, like, this should solidify. All right, guys, like it's one of you got to go. And I'm not saying that like condescendingly, but that was just a side note that I wanted to. I meant to keynote on when we were talking transfer portal. I'm glad that we were talking about Martavious Collins because that's something.
And I
That
mean, huge shout out to I'm gonna call him Big Ben for right now because I've seen him throw in practice before. He's got a cannon on him, believe me.
sure.
So shout out Big Ben. He contacted Martavious Collins every single day up until that commitment day, and probably still doing that. So huge shout out to him. And I mean, Auburn's entire coaching staff is just full of really good recruiters. So
100%. And their class of 2024 has a really solid recruiter in it.
Walker White and Jameer Burnett.
Yeah, those two for sure. But Walker White honestly may be setting himself up for if he has like a. I don't want this to happen. Don't get me wrong, but if he has like an injury or something and has to take some time like away from football or take a red shirt, he can 100% be part of the coaching staff to recruit. I think that's completely not legal. I'm pretty sure that there's NCAA rules against that, but like I think that he's got what it takes that after his 15-year NFL career, he can come back to Auburn and be the lead recruiting analyst because I'm sure that's exactly what you want to do after a 15-year NFL MVP campaign. Just putting that out down the road. He's got what it takes.
You're not wrong. And to move on from players Auburn gained over this past week to players they've lost, Auburn basketball has lost the commitment of my favorite player from that class, Peyton Marshall. It's sad. 7 foot tall, about 300 pounds. Could have been a dual sport athlete. He could have done it all. He could have been the left tackle on Saturdays and then the big man in the front court on midweeks. But
That's right.
sadly, he has decommitted. I believe this is because Auburn is going to be targeting a lot of centers in the portal.
And I think he was pretty close with Wes Flanagan. I think that was part of it.
That could be the case as well. So
he actually did point in his decommitment toward something to the degree of coaching staff changes were part of his decision process, which I mean, whatever. I'm really not going to hold it against anybody. I get it. If the guy who recruits you goes elsewhere, that's very understandable. And if you want to take your talents, not necessarily just to follow them, but elsewhere, that's okay too. I'm a little disappointed because I thought that Peyton Marshall was going to be a really, really not thought. I still believe Peyton Marshall could have been a very, very exciting player for Auburn, but who's to say? There's a lot of time between now and his signing day and signing his NLI. So, or excuse me, LOI. And yeah, well, we'll just have to play that one through. I don't know that he wants to play basketball in Oxford, Mississippi.
No, it should. But I mean, if KT Harrell were to be a future hiree at Auburn,
bring him back on the squad.
Bring him back. He can also play point guard.
That dude can. He can go recruit anybody, and you can't tell me otherwise.
I mean, he's got a ring. Now he just got to come back to his home, to his alma mater and bring them a ring. I mean,
you're so just not wrong. You're right.
It would be beautiful. It would be perfect poetry, if you will. But I'll let you take. Hold on. I almost forgot Matthew Cleveland. Auburn is in talks on Twitter. I don't believe anyone on the actual coaching staff has brought up Matthew Cleveland. Is he officially in the portal?
Yeah, no. Matthew Cleveland is, to my knowledge, and you can fact check me while I run through this real quick, if you don't mind, because I've got his stats in front of me, and we'll talk about this for a second here. To my knowledge, Matthew Cleveland's not actually in the portal. This is all manifestation, and it does sound like there's real traction on that front. And we've heard a couple other names that are in this similar kind of boat. Julian Phillips comes to mind out of Tennessee, where we keep hearing those names about being who's in, who's out. Dylan, you're giving me a puzzled face. Are you okay?
Well, I found Tar Heel Times has said that he's entered the portal. So I was like, yeah, he entered the portal. I do believe he's in the portal.
Matthew Cleveland, officially, as of last night.
Yeah, per 4 days ago, apparently. Tomahawk Nation
okay, I'm sorry. It. Okay, Tomahawk Nation announced that 4 days ago?
Yeah, 24/7 Sports 4 days ago shares plans to enter the portal.
Yeah, okay. Matthew Cleveland's maybe he's one of the names that I'm getting mixed up with other guys that I don't think are we're getting a lot of smoke about, namely, like I said, Julian Phillips. But Matthew Cleveland would be a fun addition to this Auburn team. I don't know that there's a ton of traction. I've heard a lot of smoke about it, and I don't necessarily know for a fact, but FSU's leading scorer a year ago on average, right?
Yep.
Which is wild because he was only averaging 13.8 points a game, which Florida State sucked. So like that was not too big of a surprise. 7.4 rebounds a game, 1.8 assists a game, 44.5% from the field, 35% from three. Dude can stroke the three ball. It's that would certainly be a fun addition. And also, Dylan, he's a guard that's 6'7".
He's Ben Simmons that can shoot.
To say it, do the thing, Dylan. Do the thing.
Tall guard, tall guard, tall guard.
Thank you.
Ben Simmons with a shooting form. Go.
Yes, it'd be a fun piece. I'm buying no stock right now, so I'm not really going to try to get deep, read too deep into that. But certainly a fun concept, right? A guy that could be fun to add into this Auburn backcourt. I don't think they're done. I'm not entirely sure that Auburn's done even with the backcourt. I would like to see for them to try to actually address the 3 and 4 depth problem. But who am I to make that decision? Moving forward, Dylan, as we keep talking about Auburn basketball, Auburn women's hoops picked up 2 commitments this past week. One official, 2. Yes, there are 2 more coming now. And officially, there are 3 signees that have transferred to Auburn, unofficially, but also officially unofficial. That's officially unofficial. I said that to make it as confusing as it sounds.
It's too early for that, man.
Well, I know, Dylan. I know it's early, but because this is just stupid. Like, why we know there's 4 of them, but everyone's like, no, but there's technically 3. There's 4. There are 4 transfers to this point for Coach Jay and company. And in both of your transfers you pick up, and Jemiah Minho Young, that's what I'm going to go with. I've not seen a phonetics guide there yet. And McKenna Eddings, both guards, Dylan.
Yes.
Which leads me to believe that there is someone in that guard room that's going to wind up transferring out. I think that I don't know that there's room unless you can play either one of these 2 over as like a small 3 and want to go with the small rotation. But even then, I would still think Shaw's going to get a lot of minutes. We know, honestly, Scott Grayson's going to start. I would think Marshawn Bostic's in. The outlier here for me is Caitlin Duhon. So interesting to see there. And Dylan, your thoughts on going after 2 more guards and what women's hoops next move's got to be, because I think they're going to try to pull literally 7 players out of the portal.
Yeah, I'm trying to get their heights for all of them because McKenna Eddings is 6 foot tall, and type in. Let me go ahead and just Control C and Control V Jemiah into Google to see how tall she.
Eddings 6 foot in that backcourt would be
Young is 5'8".
Okay. Young certainly going to have to play in the backcourt. Eddings, you could almost kind of parlay into that three role if you needed to. And 6 foot should get the job done. Maybe not quite the size you're looking for, but it's close. And this team's getting taller. That's something interesting too. And this via the portal and recruiting class. Like this is Dylan's doing the finger pointing, talking about getting taller and inherently being. It's height is just inherently part of basketball, folks. I'm sorry. Like, and it's crazy how that works, right? But very interesting to see that Coach Jay's going to try to go with a taller group, or maybe that's the brand that you're looking for now. Smaller guards, taller bigs than we've seen in the first couple of years. Which, tell me if that sounds familiar. Small guards, tall and really tall bigs. Yep, yeah. Dylan's pointing the fingers and going. It's got to be down now. Small guards, right?
No. Small guards are a dying breed.
Okay.
They have the dog in them, but they can't drive in without getting packed.
Okay. You know what? Touche. Fair enough.
I love you, Wendell Green. Don't worry.
Yes. But you're also very excited.
Jared Harper, you're also very close to my heart.
But you're also very excited to see Denver Jones on the floor.
I am very excited to see Denver Jones on the floor. You are correct. But if you gave me another year of Jared Harper, I wouldn't say no. Speaking
of exciting acts on the floor, let's talk about gymnastics and Derrian Gobourne. Her appearance at NCAA Nationals. Excuse me, I had a little hiccup there. Earning a 9.9125 in her final floor routine of her collegiate career, which was like way too low.
Oh, for sure.
That routine was, show me where you took points off. Someone show me where you take points off. But the regional and national scoring systems were scoring results were so atrociously bad. I was not really like that bent out of shape about it. LSU, I think, kind of got screwed yesterday. Their scores were atrociously low in terms of. I didn't think that LSU really did anything to like get taken off from, but like whatever. What else is new, right? And lots of shady scoring there. I'll go on that front.
I don't want to say the gymnastics kind of favored the Florida Gators, but there's some science behind it.
Dylan, are you telling me that you don't like when you see the Gator chomp in every single floor routine?
I would deduct at least 2 points for every Gator jump.
I
Can't lie.
I would not disagree with you. I mean, like it's cool and whatever. Like I get it, but also it's really kind of cringe. Anyways, congratulations to Derrian Gobourne on her final floor routine, scoring, like I said, 99125, and wrapping up her collegiate gymnastics career. It's been nothing short of a privilege to be able to cover her while she's been at Auburn. Wishing her the best of luck in the WWE, right?
Dude, that's gonna be so cool. She's gonna do a finisher and she's gonna go
There's gonna be Derrian Gobourne action figures.
And do a swan dive as she's doing the crown.
As she's doing the crown. That's freaking awesome. So she'll get to spend, I think, a year. The process after this is a year in Orlando doing WWE training, which sounds like painful and like a lot of hard work, and something that, of course, Derrian would be really good at because she's got an incredible work ethic. So wishing her the best of luck. Really excited to. I guess I'm gonna have to watch WWE now. So here we go. Very excited for that in the future. Let's keep talking. Let's see here. Let's go over the Diamond Sports. Actually, nope. Check that. We're going to talk for just 1 second about Auburn Equestrian. Just really quickly, want to congratulate them falling in the Natty to SMU. I mean, how do you? It's not crazy. The SMU is literally the ponies. Like they're literally the Mustangs.
It might be rigged against Auburn, to be honest with you.
It
might be a little rigged.
Look. Rumor has it that the SMU it had all the home crowd advantage. They actually probably paid the. I'm kidding, but congratulations to Auburn on a national finals appearance and runner up yet again. This team is just, oh my gosh, it's unbelievable how consistently elite Auburn Equestrian is, and one day I'm going to figure out why. Like I'm going to figure out how this program like came to be this dominant. You know what I mean, Dylan?
Yeah.
and I'll report back as soon as I figure out why. But Greg Williams and company, man, they are just consistently elite. So congratulations to that group. Now let's talk Diamond Sports as we round things out here, Dylan, on the Sunday edition of the College Loop. Baseball or softball first? Pick one.
Softball is less painful.
All right, so we'll start with baseball.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know. Baseball's had a good weekend, actually, to this point. I mean, I know you lose on Saturday, you lose 4-2, and you try to make that little comeback to get spoiled at the end by Alabama. You have a great outing on Friday night from Tommyville, and you beat Alabama 8-4. I know you're laughing, you're sitting here giggling, Dylan. For those of you not watching the YouTube version, Dylan's over here cackling because he's thinking to himself, yeah, well, Auburn went into the bottom of the ninth inning up 8-0 and wound up winning that game 8-4. They tried their best, their damnedest to do the Auburn thing.
Not forget the bases were loaded either.
Yeah. There was certainly like
all 4 of those runs were freaking walks, dude.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, it was hard to watch on Friday night once you got Vail out of the game. You got one good inning from. I'm sorry, I'm looking in front of me here.
It wasn't Cannon.
That's why I said I choked because it should have. I was thinking it was Cannon.
Bauman. It was Tanner Bauman.
Tanner Bauman. Oh, and you left him in forever. Butch. And then you wound up having to bring in Will Cannon to get out of it because Tanner Bauman came in and loaded him up, walked him around. It became a merry-go-round for Alabama, and then the bottom of the ninth. But I don't want to get too hung up on that, Dylan. I want to actually talk for a second about Tommy Vail throwing how many innings? 6.5, 7 innings?
I think it was 7. It was 7.
Was it 7 complete innings? 7 innings of 6.5, 6.2 innings of shutout ball. I mean, what in the world? Tommy Vail, hello. What? Hello.
Where you been?
Yeah, like welcome back in a weekend situation over a team that you've got to beat. And I was impressed, man. I mean, only issued 4 walks his entire time out. No earned runs, obviously, and 4 strikeouts. He just cut through guys effectively and efficiently. And That's the kind of stuff that you need to build off of, because holy cow, did Auburn need an outing like that? Not just for Tommy Vale, but for other, like the rest of this Auburn bullpen and rotation for that matter, to be like, oh wow, we can do that. Like we can, like we have some confidence. And then you go into Saturday's matchup with Alabama, and dude, my man keeps. I'm so frustrated with. I'm going to show a little bias here, Dylan. I am so upset for my boy Drew Nelson. It is unbelievable. You finally put him in a situation where Drew can like actually like have some success, and then Drew gets lit up, and you pull him in the second inning. You're already into your bullpen, and then somehow Auburn's bullpen only gives up one run. Like, where's this been? Huh? Hello? Knock, knock, knock. Like, who's there? The pitching's been actually been okay this weekend, Dylan.
Yeah, and that's probably the first time we've been able to say that since
The pitching's been borderline good.
you better knock on some wood over there, man. I want to say it as much as the next guy, but oh my heavens, can this pitching staff get bad?
Oh yeah, for sure.
This has been a unicorn of a weekend for Auburn baseball.
But it's come at the right time. You have to have it right now, because you're getting some help from the Mississippi schools beating up on each other. Let's be honest. And they're playing each other this weekend. So you're getting some help from those two having an absolute sludge fest. But you need to make up ground in the SEC. I think that if you win this weekend, your chances of going to regionals are astronomically higher. Like I actually think that you've got a solid footing and ground to think and assume that you're going to regionals.
They need to win what, 9 more SEC games?
No, they need to win 5 more.
5 more. So they got to beat Bama. Got to take.
I don't
1 or 2 Mississippi State.
So 10 is the magic number about on average. And 10 conference games is on average the number that you need to reach to be able to make the postseason. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that Auburn's there. The schedule ahead's not like great, but also I'm not entirely sold that it's like not possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Ole Miss, you could probably steal a game. LSU steal a game.
You could win a series over Mississippi State.
Yeah,
Mississippi State is, if there's a team worse, not if there are teams worse in the conference than Auburn. Don't get me wrong.
Is Missouri?
Maybe. It just depends on which Missouri team you get.
So it's only Mississippi State. So unless on the schedule that you can be like shoe in a win
play
somewhere.
South Carolina, LSU, and then Ole Miss in that order. No, Ole Miss is at the bottom of the barrel too. You could win 2 or 3 in Oxford if you play well. Like there are 5 SEC wins remaining on this schedule, and in a 5th one, if you pick up the second win and win the series over Alabama today, there's a clear out. There's a clear path.
I just want to talk about how on my birthday, Auburn has to walk into Columbia, South Carolina, and get that pitching rotation absolutely lit up in Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, well,
I'm just not going to watch that game. I'm going to enjoy my birthday.
That's right. At age 16, I drove from Atlanta, Georgia to Auburn, Alabama to watch Auburn baseball lose to Brigham Young on my birthday. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dylan, Auburn softball's taking on LSU this weekend, and they are kind of in a similar situation as Auburn baseball right now in terms of this weekend series. Very different overall picture situations, but they've got a rubber match with LSU this afternoon, and an opportunity to win an SEC series. Talk to me about where they're at, where Auburn softball's been to this point in the weekend, and what you look to see this afternoon as Auburn is going to try to go capture that home series victory, a place that Auburn's been very tough to beat. J.B. Moorfield.
Yeah, so Friday, of course, we got the Maddie Pinta masterclass, as we usually always get. Yesterday was a loss. Shelby Lowe pitched pretty well, but she got lit up in, I believe, the 4th inning. Gave up a 2 RBI home run, and then she got pulled for Annabelle Widra. And I mean, they pitched pretty good. I mean, you can't help that one pitch just kind of goes a little haywire and goes over the fence. Can't help that, really. But I mean, today, Maddie Pinta's back on the mound, and Auburn can definitely win the series over a higher ranked team, 13 ranked LSU.
And it's been a low scoring weekend at this point for both sides, which I mean, that's conference play, right? That's good pitching.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say low scoring, average, no more than 5 runs for either team. I think Auburn posted 5 on Friday night, and nothing crazy. And you're not going to get that kind of separation because the defense is better, the pitching is better, and these games are ultra competitive. Auburn was right there last night or yesterday afternoon, rather, and really could have already won the series. I fully expect that if they don't win this series, it'll be another one of those close games. Regardless, this one is a 1 or 2 run differential for whoever winds up walking away. But if I like Auburn's chances, are really, really tough to beat at Jamie Moore Field, like we mentioned. They have been absurdly good there. I think they've only lost 3 times or 4 times there this year.
I think 3 is three's it.
It was 3. I think it was 3 coming into this weekend. So I think it's 4 times now.
Oh, look at it.
You can fact check me while I move forward. But yeah, that should be it's a golden opportunity, like you mentioned, to take down a team higher ranked than you and put yourself in good. You said 3 times this year?
Yeah,
Okay,
that
cool.
LSU loss was third loss of the year.
Third home loss of the season. Yeah, like I said, Auburn is unbelievably good. And if they could play all their games at Jamie Moore, I'm sure they would for a lot of reasons. But if it's the vibes, it's the vibes. But we'll see if they're able to secure a victory over LSU this weekend, and a victory that should help their power index a lot in terms of seeding and going into that regional, because Auburn softball has actually been strong enough as of late. If they can string together a couple more series wins, like, they may wind up hosting again. Like we were worried that they weren't going to host, and now I think that we are confidently in the mix, in the conversation to see Auburn softball host a regional as you head to NCAA postseason play. That being said, Dylan, that's going to actually wrap up our Sunday show for the College Loop. Got a couple of things before we get out of here. First and foremost, thank you guys so much for following along on all of our social media platforms, and specifically on YouTube. Had our first 1,000 view video last night. Our first video hit 1,000 views, which is the Thursday show. You guys are incredible. You guys are insane. Wild, and we appreciate you. And we want you guys to know that we cannot express enough our support, how much we appreciate your support, and how much we love doing this kind of stuff for you guys and putting this content together, because it's we don't do it for us, we do it for you guys. So we appreciate you following along. While you're here, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, drop in the comments, give us your hottest Auburn sports take for the week. That's what I want on Sundays. I want the hottest takes for the week, and that whether that be about the transfer portal window for football or basketball, whether that be about baseball. Can they come down the stretch and win 10 games? Can they win more in the SEC? Softball, and do you think that Auburn softball could go on some crazy tear and win 14 games in a row? Tell us. I don't know. We're curious about your hot take Sundays here on the College Loop. That being said, I'm Harrison Tarr, by Harrison Tarr on the Bird app. You can check out all my written work on the Auburn Daily, theauburndaily.com. More of my podcasting work on the Auburn Daily Show every Wednesday and Wednesday with Dylan Larck, every Friday with the legendary Lindsey Crosby. You can go check out 2 days ago, and check out our Friday episode. Still relevant, still very relevant. We talked a lot about previewing the transfer portal, and really we actually spot on, because I think we heard a couple things right before we went on there. So I had a lot of fun there. The rest of my content right here on the College Loop. And if you want to listen to me, I'm on ESPN Plus, calling Mercer Athletics most Friday, Saturday, Sundays. I kind of rotate them in and out. You can follow me along with me on the Bird app, and I'll let you know when I'll be in the booth. So, Dylan, had a lot of fun. Actually, I'm kind of awake this morning. That's such a lie. I'm going straight back to bed.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be edited and going up. I'm going down.
I'm going to the bed. I'm going to bed, waking up and going to the booth, and then coming back and going back to bed.
Yeah, but my name is Dylan Larck, at you boy the tank on Twitter. If you're watching, it's just right below me, right over here. And if you're listening, it's at YABOI the tank. And catch me on the Auburn Daily Show every Monday with Lance Daw and Wednesday with Harrison Tarr. And go check out my written work on the auburndaily.com, where I only talk about the transfer portal, because that's all there's to talk about anymore in today's
Your boy the writer.
Your boy the writer. And follow College Loop literally everywhere. If you want to listen to us, you got Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. You can also watch us on YouTube. Make sure to go like, comment, and subscribe. And social media, you got us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. But again, sadly, no MySpace whatsoever. It's sad, depressing. Yes, I know. We'll nap on it and think about it. But with all that being said, from the College Loop Podcast.